Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. Today we're going on a really fascinating journey into the world of the so-called PayPal Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
A network of founders and investors that emerged from the early days of, the online payment service PayPal and really left their mark on Silicon Valley. And today we're basing our exploration primarily on the work of Jörg-Owe,
Okay.
the author of this really insightful treatise on this very topic.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So we will use Schnephat's analysis to shed light on the origins of this influential group, get to know the key players, and examine their immense influence on the tech industry and beyond. And, of course, we'll also point out which critical voices there are on this phenomenon.
Absolutely, because we don't just want to deliver a historical snapshot today, but rather understand what forces continue to influence the technologies we use every day and thus also our lives. Okay. Then let's dive straight into the founding phase of PayPal. So in December 1998, the company was launched as Confinity by Max Levchin, Peter Thiel, and Luke Nosek. Interestingly, the original focus was on security software for mobile devices.
That's right. But as we often see it in the tech world, there was a decisive change, of course. Confinity recognized the immense potential that lay in digital payments early on and aligned its business model accordingly. Another turning point was then the merger in March 2000 with X.com, the ambitious online banking project of Elon Musk. From this connection, PayPal finally emerged with a clear focus on user-friendly online payment solutions.
And this focus proved to be spot on, especially through the strategic orientation towards the users of the auction platform eBay.
Yes.
This group naturally had a huge need for smooth and secure online transactions. You could say eBay was like a bubbling spring for PayPal.
Indeed. And in this phase of rapid growth, there was incredibly intense competition in Silicon Valley. Numerous startups were vying for market share, and companies like Confinity and X.com, which ironically were located just a few blocks apart in Palo Alto, were in a tough race.
Exactly. And as Schnephat describes very aptly in his treatise, this high competitive pressure in the early 2000s ironically led to a strong internal cohesion within the PayPal team.
Yes.
It developed a kind of us against the rest of the world mentality.
Absolutely. This intense pressure welded the early PayPal employees together. They had to overcome difficult challenges together in order to establish a viable business model in this dynamic and often unforgiving environment of early Silicon Valley. These formative experiences undoubtedly laid the foundation for the later successes of many of these individuals whom we know today as the PayPal Mafia.
And then came the decisive moment in 2002, the acquisition of PayPal by eBay for the considerable sum of $1.5 billion. A turning point that allowed the PayPal alumni to leverage their experience and networks gained in the early years of PayPal on a whole new scale.
Exactly. This acquisition was not only a huge financial success for those involved, but it also catapulted the PayPal platform into the mainstream and exponentially expanded its user base. For the founders and early employees, this was the starting signal for a multitude of further, often very successful entrepreneurial activities.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these key figures and their remarkable careers. Schnephat emphasizes that the term PayPal Mafia refers to these former employees and founders who later went on to found or invest in an impressive number of successful tech companies. Peter Thiel is often referred to as a kind of godfather of this group.
Yes.
He was co-founder of PayPal and is now known for his venture capital activities through the Founders Fund and, let's say, his pointed political views. His credo is often to actively shape the future.
Thiel is undoubtedly a central figure in this network. Through the Founders Fund, he has invested in numerous groundbreaking companies and represents a very clear, often polarizing vision of technological and social development. What is interesting about his approach to venture capital is his focus on companies that are driving disruptive innovations and have the potential to redefine entire industries.
Then we have Max Levchin, PayPal's chief technology officer, who was instrumental in developing the anti-fraud systems, a hugely important topic for online payments in the early days. After the acquisition by eBay, he founded Slide, a social media company that was later acquired by Google. Today, he is the CEO of Affirm, a fintech company that went public in 2021 and specializes in buy now, pay later services.
Levchin is a prime example of the innovative power that emerged from the PayPal environment. At Affirm, we can see how he has once again identified a business area with great potential and built a successful company. What is perhaps less well known is his ongoing interest in artificial intelligence and its application in various fields.
Not to forget Reid Hoffman, who co-founded LinkedIn, a platform that, with over 875 million users, has become an indispensable part of today's professional world.
Yeah.
And in addition to his role at LinkedIn, Hoffman is also a major venture capitalist at Greylock, partners with investments in heavyweights like Airbnb and Dropbox. He is also a strong advocate for the development and ethical implications of artificial intelligence.
Hoffman recognized early on the immense importance of professional online networks, and with LinkedIn created a platform that has fundamentally changed the way we network and interact professionally. His commitment to responsible AI shows that he takes the potential impact of new technologies on society very seriously.
David Sacks, the former chief operating officer of PayPal, founded Yammer, a social network for internal corporate communications which was later acquired by Microsoft. He also remains an active investor and has invested in companies like Slack and Airbnb companies that have had a major impact on the modern world of work and travel behavior.
Sacks recognized early on the potential of social networks for internal communication in companies as well. His subsequent investments point to a keen sense of innovative technologies and business models that are breaking down traditional ways of working.
Keith Rabois was also a driving force at PayPal, then moved to LinkedIn, and was an early investor at Square, the payment solutions provider. Today, he is CEO of OpenStore and previously served on the boards of Yelp and Reddit. He once noted that the early PayPal team often considered themselves a kind of outsider in Silicon Valley.
That's an interesting point. This perception of themselves as outsiders could actually have strengthened their innovative spirit and their willingness to question conventional thinking. Rabois' career path is a remarkable example of the range of roles that PayPal alumni can successfully fill, from operations to early investments to corporate leadership.
Then we have Ken Howry, one of the co-founders and the first chief financial officer of PayPal, who later went on to found the influential venture fund Founders Fund with Peter Thiel and others. Andrew McCormack, who was once Peter Thiel's assistant at PayPal and later launched Valar Ventures, which focuses on investments in tech startups outside the traditional Silicon Valley ecosystem. And Jack Selby, vice president of corporate international development at PayPal, who co-founded the hedge fund firm Clarion Capital Management with Thiel, and later gained media attention for the Unusual Tips for Jesus campaign.
These examples illustrate the diversity of paths that have opened up for PayPal alumni after the eBay acquisition. From classic venture capital with a global reach to investments in new geographic markets to, well, unconventional philanthropic-looking social media experiments.
Not to forget Russell Simmons and Jeremy Stoppelman, who both made significant contributions to PayPal's technological development and later went on to co-found Yelp. Incidentally, the original idea for Yelp was financially supported by Max Levchin. Stoppelman is still CEO of Yelp today, while Simmons served as CTO until 2010.
Yelp is another very successful company that has its roots in the PayPal environment and shows how ideas and networks circulate within this group and can lead to the creation of new, significant ventures. The fact that Levchin acted as an early investor here underlines this thesis of mutual support.
And Schneppad stresses, in his treatise, that the people mentioned here are just a small selection of over 100 companies in which PayPal alumni play a decisive role. That's really a remarkable number.
Yeah.
And it underlines the far-reaching impact of this network.
Absolutely. It illustrates the enormous multiplier effect PayPal has had on the entire technology ecosystem. The connections created there and the know-how acquired have spawned an entire generation of entrepreneurs and investors.
Now let's move on to the impact of this mafia on Silicon Valley itself. Schneppad speaks here of the evolution of startup culture.
Okay.
PayPal's early challenges and successes arguably set a precedent. This often quoted move fast and break things that is closely associated with early Facebook may reflect this dynamic, iterative approach that prevailed at PayPal in the early days.
Exactly. PayPal operated in a time of rapid change and had to react extremely quickly to changes in the market. This agility and willingness to take calculated risks, which they developed there, was adopted by many of their successors and still shapes the thinking of many startups in Silicon Valley today. It's about learning and adapting quickly.
And then the economic revitalization and the building of an entire ecosystem. The eBay acquisition not only financially secured the founders and early employees, but also laid the foundation for a new wave of business startups and investments. Experienced entrepreneurs reinvested their capital and knowledge back into the ecosystem.
That's a crucial point. The capital and immense know-how that was released through the eBay deal flowed back into new startups to a large extent. Former PayPal employees not only founded their own companies, but also acted as business angels and venture investors for other promising projects. This created a veritable cycle of innovation that fueled the growth of the entire tech sector.
And finally, the growing influence on policy and governance. Some members of this group have moved into influential positions, and are now shaping national policy as well.
Yeah.
Schneppat sees this as a new chapter in American policymaking in which technology experts and entrepreneurs are playing an increasingly important role.
Yes, that's a remarkable development. We're seeing tech entrepreneurs increasingly getting involved in political processes and trying to implement their visions and solutions at a societal level. Peter Thiel's conviction that the future must be actively shaped reflects this proactive approach.
Now to the legacy, to the heritage of the PayPal Mafia. Schneppat describes this as an impressive testament to innovation and successful collaboration that inspires entrepreneurs around the world.
That's absolutely true. The success stories of the PayPal alumni are, of course, incredibly inspiring for young founders. They show what is possible when you have a strong team, pursue an innovative idea, and have the courage to go unconventional ways.
And the impact on the entire tech ecosystem is immense. This close networking and constant exchange drive innovations in such diverse fields as social media, electric mobility, and even space travel.
The interconnectedness within this group is a key success factor. They support each other, share their knowledge and experience, and invest in promising new technologies. This creates a very dynamic and innovation-friendly landscape.
The common entrepreneurial spirit, this shared commitment and collective experience that keep producing new innovations.
Exactly. Their time together at PayPal shaped these people in a special way. They learned to act fast, deal with uncertainty, and pursue big, ambitious goals. This entrepreneurial spirit is clearly evident in all their subsequent ventures.
But Schneppat also points out the potential risks and opportunities of such closely connected alumni networks. On the one hand, of course, the undeniable advantages in terms of mentoring and access to capital, but on the other hand, also the possible danger of insularity, which could impair diversity and thus innovation in the long run.
That's a very important consideration. If a network is too closed and too focused on itself, there is a risk that new ideas and alternative perspectives from the outside will not be sufficiently considered. A certain amount of openness and diversity is crucial for long-term innovation success.
And finally, the broader societal implications. The increasing integration of entrepreneurial thinking and goals into political decision-making processes.
Yes.
Which, of course, raises important ethical questions about the concentration of power and the adequate representation of public interests.
Absolutely. When economic success and political influence are so closely intertwined, we have to critically examine how decisions are made and whose interests ultimately take precedence. A transparent and responsible approach is essential here.
Okay, let's sum up the key points. The PayPal Mafia has undoubtedly had a significant and multifaceted impact on the tech world, from fundamentally shaping startup culture to increasingly influencing political decision-making processes. At the same time, Schneppat's analysis also highlights the potential challenges and ambivalences that can come with such an influential network. At this point, we would like to mention Jörg-Owe and Schneppat again, whose well-founded treatise formed the basis for today's deep dive session.
Exactly. Schneppat's detailed investigation has helped us to better understand the complex interrelationships surrounding the emergence, influence, and legacy of the PayPal Mafia.
Finally, a follow-up question for you, our listeners. Considering the impressive networking and far-reaching influence of the PayPal Mafia, what long-term implications do you see for the future innovation landscape, the design of governance structures, and public discourse in an increasingly technology-driven world? To what extent will we succeed in finding a balance between rapid technological progress and fundamental societal values? An exciting and important field that is certainly worth thinking about for a long time to come. Thank you for listening to The Deep Dive.